The work of Jesus, a reading from the Cotton Patch Gospel, according to Luke. He went on to say, a man had 2 sons. The younger one said to his father, "Dad, give me my share of the business." So he split up the business between them. Not long after that, the younger one packed up all his stuff and took off for a foreign land, where he threw his money away living like a fool. Soon he ran out of cash. And on top of that, the country was in a deep depression. So he was really hard up. He finally landed a job with one of the citizens of the country, who sent him into the field to feed hogs. And he was hungry enough to tank up on the slop the hogs were eating. Nobody was even giving him a handout. One day, an idea bowled him over. A lot of my father's hired hands have more than enough bread to eat. And out here, I'm starving in this depression. I'm going to get up and go to my father and say, "Dad, I have sinned against God and you, and am no longer fit to be called your son. Just make me one of your hired hands." So he got up and came to his father. While he was some distance down the road, his father saw him and was moved to tears. He ran to him and hugged him and kissed him and kissed him. The boy said, "Dad, I've sinned against God and you, and I'm not fit to be your son anymore." But the father said to his servants, "You all run quick and get the best suit you can find and put it on him. Get his family ring for his hand and some dress shoes for his feet. Then I want you to bring that stall-fed steer and butcher it, and let's all eat and whoop it up, because this son of mine was given up for dead, and he's still alive. He was lost and is now found." And they began to whoop it up. But his older son was out in the field. When he came in and got almost home, he heard the music and the dancing, and he called one of the little boys and asked him what in the world was going on. The little boy said, "Why, your brother has come home, and your daddy has butchered the stall-fed steer because he got him back safe and sound." At this, he blew his top and wouldn't go in. His father went out and pleaded with him, but he answered his father, "Look here, all these years I've slaved for you and never once went contrary to your orders. And yet, at no time have you ever given me so much as a baby goat with which to pitch a party for my friends. But when this son of yours, who has squandered the business on whores, comes home, you butcher for him the stall-fed steer." But he said to him, "My boy, my dear boy, you are with me all the time, and what's mine is yours. But I just can't help getting happy and whooping it up, because this brother of yours was dead and is alive. He was lost and has been found." Here ends the reading from God's Word.
Thank you, Bill. You did pretty good. Whoop should take you 4 syllables to say, but you know. Well, today we are looking at the second part of the series of Finding Yourself in the Picture. And so we're going to zero in. Now, I need to start off with something that you might quite often find in movies. Any similarity to any person living or dead is merely coincidental. If you think I'm talking about you, forget it. I'm talking about myself today, all right? So I just want to get that real clear. I appreciate some kind words. Somebody told me last week that that sermon was just for them, and that's okay, but today it's moi. So just want y'all can listen. So it was a Sunday morning. The ship was sitting outside of St. Petersburg, Russia, and I had a noon departure to go to the Hermitage. Now, on that ship, there was a guide. His name was Ian, and he always told us that all you have to do is when you're in a city and you can see the eye for information, you can think of Ian. And he always ended his talk about the city we were about to go to. Life is not measured by the breaths we take, but by the moments that take our breath away. And this was the day that was going to take my breath away. So I boarded the bus and we went to the Hermitage, and we got there. We met our greeter. We were given this mic system that we could hear the guide leading us, and I just asked the gentleman politely as I could, "We are going to see Rembrandt's The Return of the Prodigal." He said, "Oh, yes." So we went in, and there was the craziness of the place, and we started walking up the staircase and down this long, long hallway. And then all of a sudden, I just happened to look in this direction. And through a series of doors was the room where the painting was. The painting is 8 feet 7 inches tall and 6 feet 8 inches wide. That green on the wall, that picture doesn't do the exact justice of it. Right, Ann? Right? Anybody else have ever seen the painting in real life? I know Ann did. So I beelined it to that room. And the rest of them went that way. I didn't care. Hopefully, he did tell us what time to meet us at the bus. So I walked into the room and stood before that painting. And the first thing that drew my eye was this deep drip, big black drip, almost three-dimensional. That's the sad thing about once you see a painting in real life is, prints just don't do it. This big drip. And it really is the cane, the stick, that the older brother is holding in his hand. See, so often we have talked about this story being about the prodigal son. You know them, those people. But really, in reality, it's a story about two brothers and the reaction to it. Richard Rohr says it might be better called the story of two sons. Henri Nouwen says it's the parable of two lost sons. See, this older brother, he did his duty. He worked hard every day, fulfilled all his obligations, but became increasingly unhappy and unfree. See, I had to look at myself. See, the week before, every day I got up and went to the dining room and had the book and was rereading it. And for that moment, I was drawn to that because I realized that's me. I'm the older brother. See, he had resentment. And I know all about resentment. See, there's so much resentment among the just and the righteous. There's so much judgment, condemnation, and prejudice among the saints. There is so much frozen anger among the people who are so concerned about avoiding sin. This is a sermon that I call the Confession of an SRA. That's a self-righteous, and you know what the A stands for. This past summer, I had the honor and privilege to teach with Melanie Davis. Now, Melanie Davis is the head honcho of Our Whole Lives for the Unitarian Universalist Church. She has a PhD and a bunch of other letters after her name. She has written some of the curriculum. In fact, right now we're rolling out and testing the new curriculum for older adults that she has written. Let's just say I was slightly intimidated that I was going to have to teach with this woman for a week or for 3 days. She called me up. She said, "Hon, I need for you to do me a favor." Said, "Can you send out the letter that we send out to the people that are going to be in the class?" So I did, We have a model, and I followed it. So I fixed our names, Melanie Davis, PhD, and I forgot what all the other letters. Then I thought, Houston Hall, MDiv RE. That's all I got at this moment. So I wrote out SRA, little I, capital R. While we were teaching, she said, I've never heard of this SRA. What are those? I told her exactly what it was. Yeah. It's about that anger and resentment. I found this other painting. I don't know if your name Tissot or Tissot, a 19th century Frenchman. Interesting painting. Especially, I love this close-up of the older brother. And look at his wife. That's, I think, the problem that I face and so often the church has faced. We get so smug and so uppity, looking down at others and not realizing that we need that because there's no joy. You know, listen to what the older brother says. Work like a slave, never disobeyed, gave me nothing. Huh. Ever been that? Ever said that? No, not y'all. No. See, joy and resentment can't exist together. It just doesn't. It doesn't work that way. I think that's the reason that this symbol is so, for some people, so disturbing. You know, when I am joyful about my Christianity, that one symbol, it really doesn't matter what the other people are doing. I want them to have joy. I want their faith. I once had a Jewish friend say, man, your faith is pretty attractive. She said, maybe I need to look at it. I said, no, child. Your faith as a Jew is a wonderful faith. What you need to do is start digging and finding the joy that's in there. And he did. Yeah, we can coexist. See, life's hardest spiritual choice is to trust or not trust in God's all-forgiving love. You know, we have to really realize that we're going to trust that God is about that God is there for us, that God is going to love us. There's nothing that we can ever do to not be loved by God. Henri Nouwen says, here I'm faced with my own true poverty. I'm totally unable to root out my resentment. See, there is a way back home. Just like the younger brother had to find his way back home, the older brother has a way to go. The father wants not only his younger son back, but he also wants that older. See, notice that he's partying with the younger one, and he realizes the older one's a little angry, so he goes out to try to rectify that. He goes out there. See, so often we have used spiritual laws as a way to beat up people. Well, you don't do this, and you don't do that. You should follow that. Spiritual laws are really for yourself. Never to be taken out and to whoop somebody upside the head with it. It's to help us understand where we are in our lives. See, we've created a religion of smugness and have little need of mercy, compassion, or a generosity of a God. Yeah, when we think we've got it all right, who needs a God? See, the elder brother stands back, looks at his father's merciful gesture, and cannot yet step over his anger and let his father heal him as well. He keeps holding that stick. Holding on to that resentment. See, the dad says, hey, listen, you got everything. It's yours. It's yours to possess. See, resentment and gratitude can't coexist. See, when we're really grateful for what we have, it goes beyond this is mine, this is yours, this is life. You claim the truth and enjoy that freedom and joy in it. Oops. So the question I ask you, so what do you hold in your hand? What stick are you holding on to? This weekend, my weekend, I was painting in my kitchen and did my, I was working on this wall and, I was over here and then I looked back over and there was that drip. Yeah, I still make drips. And I started laughing at that drip. I almost was going to leave it, just as a reminder. But I have a deep suspicion Rembrandt meant that drip to be there. I think he knew something, what we needed to understand. Here's what you got to know. The leap of faith always means loving without expecting to be loved in return. Giving without wanting to receive. Inviting without hoping to be invited. Holding without asking to be held. And every time I make a little leap, I catch a glimpse of a God that loves me and holds me and wants me and who is running out in front to welcome me back home. Because God wants me to have joy. I triple dog dare you.